my loves. Welcome or welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I'm Monica, the Kismet Chemist. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Welcome to the family. It's an honor to have you. If you are returning, welcome back. I have missed you. My loves, before we get to what this reading is about, I did want to show this beautiful, amazing gift. It's intention oil. Sorry. I got distracted because there's like crystals in it and it just hit the light exactly perfectly. So it looks this like a beautiful sapphire in it. But this is an intention oil and it was sent to me by my dear friend, Sarah from Into the Wild. And she has her own brick and mortar shop. She's got her own studio shop. She does readings. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on YouTube. I will go ahead and link her channel in my description box. That way you guys can go and check her out because she is incredible. She has been one of my most dedicated and longest viewers, but she also is such a wonderful friend. And her products, I am telling you guys, her products, the magic that she works is life-changing. It's changed my life on many occasions. And so I 100% suggest you guys go listen to her readings, engage with her channel, check her out on Facebook, book a reading with her. She is incredible. All right. So now let's get into this reading. Today's reading is inspired by my childhood favorite movie, or not movie, but book series. Okay. I like the movies, but I 100% prefer the books. I'm hoping that the TV series that they're doing will do it justice, but I'm a little iffy about it just because I know HBO, when they do TV series based off of books, they have a tendency to go very off script and off the like plot lines. So for instance, HBO did the True Blood series, and those are based off of the Sookie Stackhouse novels by Charlaine Harris. Very, very different storylines, like very different storyline. The first book and the first season were pretty aligned, but after that, it just kind of went off the rails. But I have my hopes up that the Harry Potter TV series will be good. Now, when you receive your letter from Hogwarts, it mentions that you can bring a pet. And I know that the letters say an owl, a cat, or a toad. But I picked these three animals, one of them because, I mean, if you know me, you know how much I love Willow. And Willow is a corgi. She's a corgi mix, but she's still a corgi. But the other ones are some of the spirit animals that I have worked with throughout my journey. This is... I originally was going to have this reading come out on Harry's birthday, which is July 31st. Because the thing about that is, for 11 years of Harry's life, he didn't know he was special. He didn't know he was magical. He didn't know that he had a grand destiny designed for his entire life. All he knew was that he was an orphan, left to live with parents or family rather, that just didn't understand him, didn't listen to him, didn't believe him, and acted as though he was the worst thing to ever happen to them. Living your life in that way is incredibly challenging. And we all kind of go through different times in our lives in which we feel as though we don't belong, whether it's in our family or in the world. We feel as though there's no place that will ever find friends, that will ever find community, that will ever find family. And just as much as Harry had really decided that he was just going to live his life this way, and he was just looking forward to not going to the same school as Dudley again, his whole life changed for the better when he found out the truth of who he was. And it happened on his birthday when he received his Hogwarts letter. Sometimes we don't see ourselves as clearly as we would like, as spirit would like. Sometimes we cloud our own perception of self because of trauma, because of wounding, because of any number of things that have occurred in our lives. Today, this reading is about being glad that you were born, grateful that you exist, and allowing spirit to help you see yourself a bit clearer. So what these cards are the magical meditation cards from the Harry Potter Oracle book deck. Here we go. Absolutely love this. Love it. If you enjoy Harry Potter, or you're a big fan like I am, and you are looking for, say, like journal prompts or prompts that help you dig deeper using something that you love, these cards are amazing. I went through all of these cards last year, the spring of 2024, just doing them one at a time and journaling and letting myself really open up. And I love them. I was able to see myself significantly clearer. They have a number of different categories or intentions for them. So for pile 1, again, like I said, the corgi, we've got a rose quartz corgi. Sorry, I turn my head and I always forget when I turn my head, you guys can't hear me very well. And a Flights of Fancy card. Pile 2, we have this amethyst owl and an identity card. And pile 3, we have this redwood carved elephant along with a personal growth card. We're going to read the cards, get the prompts, and then we'll use the tarot to tell the story that your guides want you to know about how they would answer this question for you. And then getting just a couple oracle cards just for some clarification if we need it or if your guides call for it. So without further ado, I'm going to leave you guys here for about 60 seconds. I will put on some meditation music, get in touch with yourself, your inner self, your higher self, your guides, your angels, your ancestors. Ask yourself to be led intuitively to the piles that are right for you. And I will see you at your piles. The timestamps are in the description box as always. Hello, pile 1. If you chose the rose quartz corgi and the Flights of Fancy card, this is your message about your magical self. So let's go ahead and dive directly into the Flights of Fancy card. It says, in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione is given a special magical artifact, which allows her to go back in time so she can take multiple classes within the same hour. Time turners are highly restricted artifacts, with good reason. Manipulating time can have terrible consequences. Harry and Hermione ultimately use it, with Professor Dumbledore's blessing, to rescue both Buckbeak and Sirius Black and help them escape Hogwarts. If you could use a time turner to go back and observe one day or moment in time, what would it be? Why is that particular day or time valuable to you? And I'm going to go ahead and move this up. That way, if you want to screenshot it and journal about it privately, you can absolutely do that. We'll put this here. So before we get into the cards, the first thing that your guides want to address is the nature of what if. What ifs can be very, very torturous, or they can be very illuminative. And it depends on how we use that phrasing, how we use those questions. What if ... For a long time in my childhood, I would say, what if I had told someone that I thought my dad was going to die? What if I had told someone that I saw him in a casket when he wasn't dead? What if I had said something? Would it be different? What if the doctors had done a stress test? What if they had seen the blockages? What if he had lived? Throughout my adulthood, those questions became less about all the ways that he might have lived and more about what if I had had a strong male figure in my life? What if my kids would have had the opportunity to meet my dad? The questions change over time. One day I asked myself, what if I could just let go? What if I could move on from having a dead dad? What if he was not actually gone, just changed? What ifs can either be a downfall or they can be a point of elevation for our entire lives. And it depends on how we use it. So let's get into it. Guides, angels, ancestors, higher selves of pile 1. We have the 10 of Wands. Yeah. This in and of itself, you can see the wands themselves are on his head. It's a mental game. It's this weight of the mind, this weight that holds you down, ages you before your days, has you feeling as though there is no hope to be found. And yet there's always hope if you choose to find it, choose to see it, choose to feel it. There's always hope. We have the High Priestess and the Two of Cups. And on the back, we have the Three of Pentacles. So whatever day that you guys, and I want you guys to remember, because this is a collective, all of your days are going to be different, but the themes of the day, the energy of it, the emotionality of it carries the same resonance. So I'm going to refer to it in the sense of the resonance. So we have this resonant day in this collective, and it has to do with the progress of building oneself, the help, the connections, love, friendship, and the heaviness of feeling different. I'm being brought to Oh, this is awful. Not for you guys. It's more for me. If you're new to my channel, a lot of the time my guides ask me or communicate with me, and your guides communicate with me through correlative situations. So situations in which I have gone through, and it's my own personal situation. But the energy and the lesson resonates for whatever reason. On April 23rd of 2025, my guides brought me a message. They said, it's going to happen on the 25th. And I said, what is going to happen? And they said, someone is going to die. And this is not the first time that I have gotten that kind of message. I remember July 15th, I believe it was, July 15th, driving my kids to their father's for his summer visitation and hearing someone is going to die, and then hearing my grandfather's spirit say, Grandma is coming home soon. And I remember looking at my husband and saying, something is coming. And then I just started crying. In April, I didn't ask who. I didn't ask for more details. I said, if it is so, I will face it when it comes. But I don't want to know ahead of time this time. 2 days later, on April 25th, one of my best friends took his own life. There is a weight that comes with some of the gifts that we carry as humans in this life, as spirits in human form. There can be a weight to it. Why do we see things? Why do we see death and destruction, wars and terror? Why do we see these things if we can't stop them? And that is this energy here. And your guides want you to know that you're not the only one that feels this kind of heaviness. We can think about all the ways that we would go back and undo what we did, or to do things that we didn't do the first time around. How many times I have thought about going back in time just to sit next to my dad, just to hug him again, to smell his cologne on him and not in the bottle, to hear his laugh, to feel the warmth of his arms, to see his eyes light up as he's cooking, to remember what it was like to be a whole family instead of a broken one. For me, the days that I would go back to, so many of them have to do with the people that have gone away. All the things that I would have wanted to do, wanted to say, wanted to engage with, that time and their soul's choice to leave this world have taken. It can make it difficult with this Two of Cups and the Three of Pentacles, both of which are cards about connection, about soulmates, about companions, collaborators, all of these things. It can make it a challenge for us to want to engage with these kind of connections again. And sometimes if we sit down and we say, okay, if I could go back to this time, if I could see this situation from a different perspective, from an older mind, from a more mature self, what might change within me? What might open up within me? And that's what your guides really want you to know, is whatever your answer is for this one, First of all, the pain that you feel and the reason why you want to go back is because the weight of continual thoughts of conversations that never are going to occur, but that you just so desperately want to have happen, have been weighing on your mind for so long that they're blocking you from being able to receive blessings and connection and love and abundance. And it's not because you're in the wrong. It's because you're stuck in a mental loop that keeps your energy tethered to the past. And I know what that's like. You'll find no judgment here. I do understand what it's like to be tethered to the past, to not even know that you're tethered to it until you find yourself free of it. So your guides want you to realize that the why of it, the why is that particular day or time valuable to you? The why of it is the weight. And that weight can be alleviated. Let's find out how that weight can be alleviated. What do your guides suggest for alleviating that weight? We have willpower and reconciliation. And on the back, we have closure. There is this desire to come back together with certain things, but in order to do so, you need to close the door to the past. And it's not anything that you don't know. I'm picking up like you already know this. You know that the best thing for you to do is to walk forward in life. But just because it's the best thing doesn't mean it's the easy thing. It doesn't mean it's the thing that you know absolutely without a doubt that this is how to do it and this is what you're doing. Closure comes when we decide that we are ready to let it go, whatever it is for each one of us. For you, this is about this willingness to come back together with parts of yourself that have been left in the past. So there's a teaching in shamanism about soul retrieval, and it's based off of the premise that when there is a trauma that occurs, and trauma, it doesn't have to be through just nefarious things. Trauma comes in a variety of ways. Sometimes trauma comes in an enjoyment, it just depends. But when there is some sort of trauma that we get stuck on mentally or emotionally, kind of like trapped in quicksand, sucking us down, and we don't know how to get out of it. The reason why we don't know how to get out of it is because part of our soul exists in that time frame. So every time we think about the event, it's like re-traumatizing ourselves. And so we can want closure, but not know how to get there. What it takes is this decision, this choice to stand in your power and pull yourself back together. Pull all the pieces of your soul from all over through the timeline of your life back into harmony, into unity, into oneness, to reconcile yourself with all the pieces of you, even the ones that wish they could go back to some other time to undo or redo something, to do something to change it. We can't change the past. The only thing that we can do is change our perspective of it and how we interact with it. So your guides are saying that the best bet for you, the best path for you is to acknowledge, I want to go back to this. And this is why I would like to go back to it. And I understand that going back is not an option. Therefore, I seek closure. And in order to find closure, I must work with the different parts of myself, with my higher self, with my guides, my angels. We must work together to bring wholeness back to me so that I may walk my path in wholeness. And you have the special ability to do that. I get the sense that you guys may have done pieces of soul or done soul retrieval actions before, pulling pieces of yourself back to yourself, but not in a like traditional shamanic way, but more like you were just pulling pieces of yourself from the past by reviewing it, by reflecting on it, by contemplating different thought forms surrounding it. And so the weight gets lifted more and more. Weight that you don't need to be carrying anymore because it just weighs you down, tires you. Closure is possible if you allow yourself to be whole again or to recognize your wholeness. You have a great amount of wisdom within you, and the world is better with you here, with your heart open, with you open to connection. The world is a better place because of it. So your guides want you to know that you have this magical ability to bring yourself closure in things that many people would have to do years and years and years of therapy in order to just scratch the surface. You, my love, are capable of going so much deeper. That is a magic that not everyone has, that your guides want you to understand. They see and they support you. They're always there working with you. Your higher self is always a part of you. And it can be heavy to know things, to see things, to want to do things differently. Those things, that way of operating, it's a normal human operational mode. You're not wrong for it. But they want you to give yourself a break, to give yourself grace, to give yourself love the way that you do for everybody else. In that, you will find the closure that you seek, and the disparate pieces will come together into wholeness once more. Whew. Pile 1, this was incredible. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I want to say thank you to your guides, to my guides, to the Great Spirit. Thank you for bringing us all together, the collective of Pile 1. Thank you for bringing their energy here. Thank you, Pile 1, for opening your energy so that I could bring these messages forth to you. It's an honor and a blessing to be a conduit of spirit for you on your soul's journey in this life. So thank you. Thank you. If this resonated, Pile 1, and you would like to support my channel, I would be ever so grateful. You can do that by liking the video, subscribing to my channel, commenting on the video. You can share the video on social media or with your friends or family or anybody that you think might be helped by this. None of those things are expected, nor are they obligatory, but they are all appreciated just as much as you are. Okay, maybe not to the totality that I appreciate each and every one of you, but I still appreciate the support. Okay, my loves, I am going to leave you here. I hope that this helps illuminate much more about the magical part of who you are. I love you all, and I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. If you chose the Amethyst Owl as well as the Identity card, this is your message about your magical self. So let's dive directly into the Identity card. We've all got both light and dark inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are. Sirius Black, Harry Potter, and the Order of the Phoenix. Consider the light and dark sides of your personality. Which side do you think you have been choosing to act on the most lately? I'll go ahead and move this up. That way, if you want to screenshot it so you can journal on it in private, by all means. So, before we get any of the cards, I want to talk about Polarities. This is not the first time this has come up. In fact, this is my third reading in 2 days that polarity and the universal law of polarity exists or has come through. Wow. Interesting. Exists. We can strive to be our best selves at any given point in time and still find ourselves falling flat. That doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you are making mistakes. It means that you're human. The nature of humanity is the nature of fallibility. And we can lose sight of that because a lot of the time on the spiritual journey, we come across leaders and gurus and teachers who talk about certain principles and certain ideations and make it seem as though we have to fit ourselves into some sort of box that they have created for us. And it's up to us to decide whether we really want to walk that path. But it's important to remember when someone is setting some sort of standard to be mindful of whether they are living to that standard themselves, or if it's one that they set for everybody else, but not for themselves. When I was sick last year, I had moments in which I lashed out. I was angry and I was scared. But more than anything, I was trying to purge from me all of the pain and the anguish and all of the toxicity that had been following me around my whole entire life. I was trying to purge from me all of this trauma that I was carrying because I was drowning in the pain of carrying it, literally. And I remember having a conversation with my mom where I was apologizing for the way that I came off when I was talking to her about things from my childhood that I had been holding on to for too long. And she looked at me and she said, "You were so angry." And I could tell how angry you were. You've been holding on to that anger for so long. I would rather you get it out. And I respect her greatly for that insight and that perception, because it's hard when we're not necessarily living our best selves, when we're not always acting out of a place of honor and integrity. I don't know about you, Pile 2, but for me, that's when I start mentally torturing myself because I expect so much more out of myself. But it's important to remember that there is both light and dark within each and every one of us, and we have to carry both. If we didn't carry both, we wouldn't actually physically exist because of the universal law of polarity. If we contained only light, then our shadow would be non-existent, and therefore there would be no purpose for us being here. Each and every person that walks this planet has both shadow and light. We can look at the shadow as a dark side. Sometimes we have to operate out of that modality. Other times we have to be mindful of whether or not we are really being true to ourselves. I don't know which side you have been choosing recently, but I know sitting in this energy, it feels like you're almost worn out from being inside of the light. Everything in this world is in balance. And if you spend so much time focusing on your light and being all light and love and not looking at the shadows of other people get to be so overwhelming because they're trying to show you your own shadows so that you can navigate your way through accepting, carrying it. That doesn't mean that it's an easy thing to do. So let's find out the advice that your guides have on integration of the shadow and the light integrating shadow and light into wholeness. Guides, ancestors, angels. We have the Queen of Cups. What else? Thank you. The Lovers and the Queen of Swords. Oh, this is perfect. And on the back, we have the Two of Swords. This is the shadow part that you are trying to integrate. This not knowing, not seeing. But the reason why I love this Two of Swords so much, and this is the Wizard's Tarot, is because in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, she is sitting there. She's got two swords. She's on her knees. She's blindfolded. She can't see. She can't move. She can't do anything. But in this one, she's using her other senses. Sometimes when we can't see something with clarity, it's up to us to tap into our other senses. So in this way, we have the two queens. This is very much about you deciding over, it's deciding between your head and your heart, but it's not quite deciding between your head and your heart because she's carrying both of them with her. She is by the water carrying the swords, which means that she has sovereignty over external influences. These birds that are flying at her and mobbing her don't actually make an impact because she is tapped so deeply into herself that nothing can impede upon that. Sometimes we don't get that opportunity or that we don't have the time necessarily, it can seem, to tap into that. This pile, I want to say it was a pile. It's a pile too for an upcoming reading as well, or for my last one that I posted. I can't remember. Actually, yeah, it's for the Lionsgate reading. And I think it was pile 2. I'm getting The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks again, because when we think that we don't have enough time, we don't understand the concept of Einstein time, I think is what it's called. It's our own time. We create time. Time flows from us. So when we perceive ourselves as running late, instead of being like, okay, well, I know the universe is going to do universe things in order for me to make it in the exact right time. When we don't operate in this understanding that time comes from us, that we create time, then we are perpetually chasing a clock. I'm just tapping in here, guys. Sometimes it can seem like there's just no good choice. I don't have the time to figure out what shadows I'm carrying around within me because I have X, Y, and Z to handle in this world. Guys, I'm sitting here and I am pre-filming as many readings as I can get in while my kids are gone because I have a quiet house, I have a calm house, and I don't have external obligations that mean that I have to be at, the soccer fields or at this school or that school or bringing this kid to this meeting or this therapy session or this doctor's. Like, I don't have any of that right now, which I'm being spoiled. I'm super being spoiled. My husband is out of the country. My kids are at their respective other parents' houses, and I am having a me-centered staycation. And how am I spending my me-centered staycation? Sitting here with you guys. I understand the nature of the world as it runs on bullet train time. This world moves so fast. It's so hard to recognize when it's time to slow down, when it's time to rest, when it's time to reflect, when it's time to take care of ourselves, when our shadows really need us to tap in. That can be a challenge, and I understand that. So there's no judgment here. But when we realize that we're the ones creating the time, then we can recognize if I'm moving out of this particular energy all the time and I'm not giving any energy to this side of me, then I'm creating an ever increasing imbalance within me. So we have this choice to be receptive to our emotions, receptive to our mentality, to blend them together into wholeness so that other outside factors can't hurt us. With the Lovers, it's literally coming to me consistently as choice, decision. We make the choice. And in this card, they're getting married. And that is one of the biggest commitments of my life that I've ever made. And I believe that marriage is one of the biggest commitments we can make in every sense of choices and commitments that we make in this world, because we're committing ourselves to building in an environment in which another person is always attached to us. Whether that is physically, emotionally, mentally, it doesn't matter, because energetically we are tied together to this other soul. And so our growth is their growth, and our downfalls are their downfalls, and their growth is our growth, and their downfalls are our downfalls. And so we have to learn how to make the right decisions for ourselves, because we set an example for each other. We reflect to each other. Too often we feel as though our minds and our hearts are in a dissonant state. They are battling one another, but they're not meant to. Our heart and our head are meant to align, because the heart knows and the mind will translate that knowingness. But if we don't trust ourselves, if we don't make the choice to commit to trusting ourselves and knowing ourselves, the things that we understand without having to see it, but we do still believe it. When we commit to bringing those together, when we forge our life in that committed state of head and heart in alignment, now we know how to balance the light and the dark. So let's find out how this is impacting your life right now in shadows and light, because I feel like there's something a little bit more here. There's so much divine feminine energy and not a lot of divine masculine. So it's almost as if maybe you've been moving too much. We've got prosperity, moving too much and not resting enough, not taking a step back. And that's, again, that time thing. And we've got travel. And she's pregnant in this travel card. And I'm not saying, some of you may be pregnant. If you are, congratulations. Woo! Babies are fun. But sometimes when we travel, we end up in this kind of gestational period of the spiritual journey where the things that we're going through on our travels are actually teaching us a great deal of things. So it may be that your head and your heart are seeking freedom. And that would be what this travel is. You're seeking this freedom, this sense of going out and doing what you want to do or experiencing new things in life. But then there's this worry about, how is my prosperity going to be hindered by this? And I understand that. I just got home from an actual vacation, not a staycation, but a vacation with my husband, where money was really tight during that time frame. But we still made it work because our hearts and our heads were aligned in this will work. And when all of that is in harmony and you just decide that that's in harmony, your prosperity is guaranteed. So you can go on these adventures. And then we have this, the life purpose. Your life purpose is not to stand still and lament all the things that you don't have or don't have the time for. Your life purpose is to recognize when the world is reflecting back to you something important within yourself, and to allow yourself to really dig deep into yourself, because from that, you will move into this state of abundance and prosperity. But recognizing if I'm operating out of my dark side, is my light side calling? If I'm operating out of my light side, is my dark side calling? And then bringing them back into harmony, into a balanced resonance. One of them harmony, the other one melody, and therefore they flow together, but they're still their own unique natures. That is recognizing the totality of who you really are, your true magical self, pile 2. So your guides want you to know that it's okay, because there is something more. There is something greater. And you control how much you can have. You don't have to limit yourself if you choose not to. You can be abundant. You can be blessed. You already are. You already are. You are incredibly magical, pile 2. All right, pile 2, this is what I have for you. I want to take this time to say thank you to your guides, my guides, the Great Spirit, our ancestors, angels, and deities, for bringing us together, for bringing the collective of pile 2 here to this channel so that they may receive these messages and recommit to themselves, choosing to harmonize their minds and their hearts, create their own time, balance out their light and their dark, and see themselves as whole, prosperous, and blessed. Thank you. Pile 2, if this resonated and you would like to support my channel, I would be ever so grateful. That would be incredible. Ways that you can do that are very simple. You can like this video, share it with your friends, share it on social media, or just share it with somebody that you think might be helped by it. You can like the channel or subscribe to the channel, comment in the comment section below. Any and all interaction really does help my channel grow. And I am always, always so moved when you guys all show up in droves and do this. It just moves my heart and my soul. It's never expected, not required, and I never want you to feel obligated, but I am always deeply appreciative of each and every one of you. Pile 2, I love you all, and I hope to see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, pile 3. If you chose the third pile, the personal growth card, as well as the painted wooden elephant carving, this is your message about your magical self. So we're going to go ahead and dive directly into this personal growth card. It says, every great wizard in history started out as nothing more than what we are now, students. If they can do it, why not us? Harry Potter, from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. We all start out as students in life. Reflect on what you were like as a student. What were some key lessons you learned in those days, and how have you used them to grow into the person you are now? Or if you were still a student, think about what you learned in the earlier years of your education and how those lessons helped form the foundation for the kind of student you are now. So I'll go ahead and move this up in case you want to screenshot it for journaling on your own. All right. Pile 3. I like to think of everyone in this world as a perpetual student. Granted, I am one of those people who believes I am the perpetual student. There's always something more for me to learn. There's always something more for me to expand my mind and my knowledge base into. But part of the reason why we incarnate into this existence, into this world, into a physical body within the human race is because we came here to learn something that our soul needs to understand. Our souls have wisdom and knowledge that is so vast, our minds in the human body can't quite fathom. And yet we come back time and time and time again. And we do that because there's still always more to learn. We're here to learn about connection, about belief, about faith, about humanity, about humility, about love, about hate. We're here to learn about all of the dichotomy and the duality of physical existence within this realm. We're here to learn about what it means to be a part of a grand design. We're here to learn about what it is to connect with another person so deeply that at points you don't know where one of you begins and the other one ends because you are so beautifully in sync. And we're here to learn what it means to love unrequited and to have to learn to let that go to find true love. We're here to learn so many different things. And sometimes it can be hard on the spiritual journey to be like, okay, I'm here and I'm learning my lessons and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And we can hit a wall. And I've hit this wall so many times, pile 3, so many times on this journey where it's literally, you feel like you just got flattened against a huge brick wall of life. And you're like, I've learned so much. Can I be done learning now? Can I just start living what I've learned? But the thing about that is we're the ones that ultimately decide when we are going to live what we have learned. And it depends how we interact with those lessons, with that wisdom. Not a single person is perfect. But it's the teachers that I've found on my journey that have the most wisdom are the ones that never, ever, ever stop being students. What if you could see yourself in that light at all times? You could be a master and a student simultaneously. That means that there is no upper limit. There is no maximum amount. You know, there's always more that you can do, that you can learn, that you can engage in, that you can grow into. There's always more, which means that there's always something exciting and new right around the corner all the time. I was actually thinking about this just a lot. Like I've been getting this message a lot from the universe about the nature of new beginnings. So if you watch a lot of tarot videos, you know that a lot of the times we talk about a new beginning, a new start, you know, a new phase, new cycle, new chapter, whatever, what have you. And if you hear it enough times, you can be like, well, am I not already past that new part? And yeah, I'm sure you have hit a new and kept going and then hit another new and all of that. And I got to thinking there are so many different New Years in the calendar year. There's the Gregorian New Year, so like January 1st. And there's the Chinese New Year, or the Lunar New Year, which is in February 1st. And then there's the Egyptian New Year, which is July 26th. And there is the pagan New Year, which is Samhain or November 1st. And so we have all of these different New Years literally throughout the year because it's dependent upon this belief system or that belief system or this culture or that culture. And yet they're still so universalized that we can practice and celebrate each and every one all year long. So we are continually having New Year's. And if you think about it that way, then nothing ever has to feel like it is getting old and bogged down because there's just a new year right around the corner. There is a new start right around the corner. We get to choose whenever we want to start. I mean, there's a new moon every month. Every month we have at least one new moon. That in and of itself is a new start. It's a new beginning. It's a new travel around the zodiac for the perception from the earth of the moon in the sky. So we get to experience newness continually. That is what it means to be a perpetual student. So let's see what your guides have to say about this ideation of being a student. And I keep getting like the Fool energy. We have the Knight of Swords. I love this. Inspiration. Intuitive inspiration. Oh, pile 3. I love your energy. We have the 8 of Swords. Let this clarity set you free. Imagine, if you will, the notion that you feel like you might be stuck in this constant, I'm hearing I got a new beginning and I don't see it anywhere. The only reason why you don't see it is because you put yourself into the 8 of Swords energy. And I say this continually, and I'm going to continue to say it, but there is no judgment here, because me and the 8 of Swords, man, we are best friends, dude. Like, we spend so much time together. It's outrageous, because I find myself stuck in this perpetual state of whatever a lot of the time. And it's hard to move forward. Oh, you guys got 4. 5. You got 5. Wow. Okay. I am going to take them. Ace of Cups, 10 of Pentacles. Real glad I took them. And the Star. Good Lord, pile 3. And the 5 of Wands. Okay. All right. This right here, the 5 of Wands is actually, for me, it is a student card, because it's a bunch of people and they're all practicing together. And it looks like they're battling each other, but their battles are intentional. It's like going to a Taekwondo class and you have to learn how to sweep the leg, and over and over and over again. I know that's Karate Kid, but you know what I mean. You do this over and over and over again, and you do it with a number of different people so that you learn other people's techniques for dodging it, and you really round out this understanding of how to sweep the legs. That's what the 5 of Wands is. It's a perpetual state of learning in which you are meeting all of these other magical people, and they're weaving their magic and you're weaving your magic. And sometimes those magics clash. And so we learn where our weaknesses are and where their weaknesses are and where our strengths are and where their strengths are. And so we go through that, and that really is how it can feel being in the 5, or being in that student energy. It can feel like the 5 of Wands. Just like I said, I was getting the Fool energy. Well, the Fool energy is that energy of I'm just going to jump right off this cliff. But the 5 of Wands is that nitty-gritty nature, that work of the perpetual learning. So what your guides are saying is, this new beginning that you want, it's absolutely possible if you recognize that you're always going to be a student. Think about the way that you go through school. So when I go through school, I have learned how to manage my ADD and my ADHD so that I can retain the memory of the things that I learned by repetition. So when I was a chemistry major, I would go through the book, like the chapters that we were on, and I would take my own note, or I would highlight in the book the things that I found important. And then I'd take my own notes, and then I'd take from those notes the key portions of those notes. I would make different charts and graphs and tables, and I would make them on like cardboard or like, display board stuff. And I would put it on my walls so that my walls were literally covered in chemical formulas, in mathematical equations, in the different, ions, cations, anions, all of those things. My walls were covered in them. I literally created by hand my own periodic table and put it up on my wall so that every day I would see it, I would engage with it, I would have to learn it. That way, you're always getting yourself out of this, I'm stuck and I don't know what to do, by having this clarity immediately. So the clarity comes to free you from the trap of your own mind. And the reason why your guides are asking you to think about yourself as a student, to understand your magical self, is because that helps you to fall back in love with yourself. And I love that this one has a lotus flower coming out of the cup, because that means that cup is filled with mud. The cup is not filled with water, it's filled with mud. That is water and earth combined together to create what we get stuck in. And from that comes this beautiful flower. And from that flower is all that moisture and all that beauty. And they're saying, if you can learn to take your clarity of mind and continue to see yourself in this loving, learning energy, that's when you start climbing the ladder of success. That's when you find that enlightenment. That's when you really move into that energy of self-sufficiency, of prosperity, of abundance. When we allow ourselves to be perpetual students, we don't create any kind of limitations upon our lives. So let's see what your guides want you to think about to help you fall in love with yourself and with learning again. Guides, ancestors, angels. We have peace, talent. What else? There are two more. I can feel them. Psychic abilities. And there it is. See? Enlighten your load. I love this. You guys might have been pulled to another pile. I don't want to say which one, but it seems that in a lot of my readings lately, there have been two piles that have really flowed energetically together in a beautiful way. Confidence. Confidence is your key to success. When you allow yourself to see through the lens of I am the perpetual student, you bring a greater level of peace to your heart and your soul because you get to continually develop your talents, your gifts. And from that, you alleviate this feeling like I've got to be perfect. I've got to be the master. You are perfect. You are the master, but you're still learning at the same time, which keeps you young. And it keeps this world exciting all the time, just perpetually exciting. So have confidence in who you are and what you're here to do and all of the things that you've learned, but also in trusting that you're learning every single day and there is always a new beginning. There's always something fresh to make this life feel like it's not, you're not getting so inured in the stress and the strain and the anguish and all of that, but instead you're learning how to really just flow in harmony with the world, with your life. Pile 3, your guides really want you to know, like, you have the reins, you have the control, and you can quite literally do anything because you have the capability of learning more and more, which expands you more and more. And as you expand, your vibration raises and your prosperity raises and your abundance raises and your blessings raise and everything just keeps elevating up. And why? Because you're continually learning. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful. Whew. Wow. Pile 3. Your energy is really awesome, just so you know. Okay, I am going to leave you guys here. This is the message that I have for you. I want to take this time real quick before we finish up to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting your intuition and following it to this channel, to this message. Thank you to your guides, my guides, the Great Spirit, for bringing us all together in harmony and allowing me to be the vessel of these messages to the collective of Pile 3. I want to also say thank you to your ancestors, your angels, your deities, and your guides. Without you, I don't know. It's just very appreciated. Thank you all. Pile 3, if this resonated and you would like to support my channel, awesome. Thank you. I would love that. And you can do that by liking this video, subscribing to my channel. You can comment in the comment section below. You could feel free to share this video with someone that you think would be helped by it or on social media. Any and every interaction really does help my channel grow. It's never expected. I never want you to feel as though you are obligated, but it is always, always appreciated. And without further ado, I'm going to leave you guys here because Willow is now yelling at me and she needs to go outside. Do you go outside? All right. I love you, Pile 3. I will see you hopefully at my next reading. Bye.